What's the lesson, everybody? Chris back with the CIC knives, here to review the BNB D2 Shark Fin folder that we got in Monthly Knife Club this month. As far as the specs go, let's just go ahead and pull the paper back up. Weighs 3.8 ounces. It's the blade length and overall length there, D2. And it is micarta over stainless steel, by the way. The total value, $90, is correct. That is what I found it for. However, BNB usually has a 15% off discount code, so really the price is more like 82-ish or 80. By the way, after this video, I will be posting it on my eBay account, Ohio9, for sale, for $55, brand new. So if you want this knife for cheap, it'll be a good way to get it. It'll be $55 plus probably $5 or $6 shipping and handling, but you'll still get it a lot cheaper than you'd get it on BNB's website. But as far as the review goes, let's get into it. So the knife is, it's kind of like, what's the word? It's kind of a working finished knife, is what I think of it as. What I mean is it looks like it's been through, I don't know, it looks like it's been through some hard use, but it's brand new. I think that's the easiest way for me to describe it. It does have a very cool, what's known as a hawkbill style blade. And there's some cool different, like, as you can see, different types of finishes going on here on the blade. That makes it look pretty neat there. And they do have a unique pivot, as well as a very different kind of handle and blade shape. This knife overall is just kind of it's very weird looking, I guess is an easy way to describe it. I do like the way that the blade curves with the handle here when it's closed. That's very cool. And a lot of this, and the flipper tab's really unique too, in the sense that you kind of go down here and push into it. And I know that's the same with all flippers, but most flippers usually just stick out the top, which is the case like for my Elementum. It just sticks out the top there. But this flipper, it kind of seems like it's just part of the knife in a way. Like your finger just naturally comes here and then it just flips, and now it becomes part of the knife down here. And yeah, I kind of like what they did with flipper tab. I like the design. I like the look, for the most part, and we'll get into that. I guess we should go into the negatives of the knife first that I found. For one, its price, I think $90 is pretty steep for the materials you're getting. I think the $55 price that I'm going to sell it at on eBay is a decent price, but for $90, oof. Even for $82, that was my fault. Even for $82, I'm not really sure. It did take a lot of steps during the manufacturing process to add the inlay, to add all this different wildness going on the handle as well as the blade. But 90, yeah. D2, even black washed D2 steel and stainless steel, micarta, you know, no titanium at all. It is on bearings, or at least it feels like it is. Yes, it is on bearings. But you know, bearings is a thing that I wouldn't consider a premium luxury anymore. There are a lot of knives that come on washers, but still, but a lot of you know, a lot of budget knives are coming on bearings. When you compare it to, let's see what I got here. You know, my Eufengro knife is D2 steel. You know, my what else do we got? My Kubi knife is D2 steel. Kubi knife is also D2. And my point with these knives is, you know, $35. Without my clip on there, this is a $25 knife. All made in China, so you can't really say anything about that. Now, granted, there was probably more steps in manufacturing thrown into this than there was these, but I don't know. So that's the first negative, is the price. The second negative, this pocket clip, very sharp, very stiff, very pointy, and this is not the only pointy part of the knife. You are going to be getting poked everywhere around this knife. Right here on the blade, it's got a sharp, it's not like slice your finger sharp, but it's sharp enough that, let's see if I can press my thumb there. See there on the left side of my thumb, you know, it should not be that sharp. There isn't really any other sharp parts, but the pocket clip is worse than up here even. The pocket clip is insanely sharp, and I guess you can get it from the side, but it's going to be a pocket shredder for sure. It reminds me of titanium pocket clips that are done incorrectly and are too tight, but that's the thing, this isn't even titanium, this is stainless steel. So that's even worse. Now, another negative for me personally is I don't really care for micarta. It's just a personal thing. It feels cool, but I always thought it looked cheap. But that's, like I said, that's a personal thing. That's not really a negative to the knife. And another negative I'd say is it only has one deployment option, which is the flipper. So if you like playing and fidgeting with your knives, like I do, this is probably not going to be the knife for you. So yeah, I'd say that's it for the negatives though. On to the positives. It is very smooth. Does drop shut pretty easily. So that is definitely a plus. It does have D2 steel, which is decent steel. I think, like I said on this knife, it's a little overpriced, but D2 is still decent. And they did, D2 isn't as resistant to corrosion, but since they added a black wash onto the blade, this knife is very corrosion resistant. So that's good. And not only did they add a black wash to the blade, they gave that similar kind of a wash to the whole handle, so the corrosion resistance or the rust protection of this knife is very high level. That's probably not going to be a problem no matter where you live, so that's good. I mean, other than that, the blade shape is very cool. It's very unique. You can't find that kind of a blade shape or this kind of shape in general anywhere that I've seen. This thing is wild. It kind of looks like a snake that's slithering as a knife. Like you got, you know, just it looks like, I don't know, that's what it looks like to me, but it just looks wild. I guess another positive and negative could be the handle. You can't grip it like this with my hands. Now I have large size gloves, but you can't, like this right here wants to poke my pinky. However, it is very comfortable to grip. If I just move my pinky behind that, it becomes very comfortable to grip. But, you know, if you have small sized hands, it's probably going to be a problem. If you have an extra large, or if you have large or larger, I should say, sized hands though, you are going to have to grip it like this. The finger choil is a risky maneuver to put your finger there. You can do it, but I'm sure you're going to get poked by the blade if you do anything vigorous with it. Now, you can choke up and get some nice fine presses down with the knife using that hawkbill blade, because where it swedges like that, it's easy to get your hand here and really press. So that's good. Like I said, I think this knife would be a good knife for, you know, around 55 bucks, with all the uniqueness to it. Maybe 60 to 65, pushing it, you know, 80 to 90 though, you know, $80 to $90. We're talking, when we're getting to that range, we're talking my my Boker here is that range. And you're sitting there like, well, what's the difference in that Boker? Well, has VG10 steel, which VG10's usually found on knives that cost $60+ I would consider D2 more of a budget steel anymore. This also has fat carbon handles, and fat carbon is more of a premium handle material for knives. Not to mention, pocket clip also stainless steel, but it's done a lot better. Now, granted, this knife is still just a flipper, but I do think this knife is closer to being worth, especially with the fat carbon handles. That's really what adds the value into this knife. This knife is closer to the $80 to $90 range, which is how much it cost. But yeah, if you're just throwing stainless steel and D2 on a knife, even with some micarta inlays, I mean, the micarta is done well. It's very grippy. It's very comfortable, very soft. I don't know. I don't see it being worth $80 to $90, but that is just my opinion. Hopefully the knife next month is a little bit more worth it. Of course, I only pay, with the shipping and handling, I pay about 61 bucks for the subscription, and I ended up with a $90 retail knife. So it's, you know, it's okay for what it is. You know, I understand they're going to send knives out. Not everybody's going to like them. That's kind of the whole point. One of the reasons I like the subscription is because it's going to get me a bunch of knives that I wouldn't normally buy, and I can do one of three things with them. If I really like them, I'll keep them. If I don't like them, I can either sell them on my eBay page, you know, basically pay for the next month once it sells, or I can give it away on the channel as a future giveaway. But before I go, my goodness, let's do some size comparisons so you guys can see what the knife really looks like. Right next to the QSB Penguin, next to the Civivi Elementum. For those wondering, I usually always get the same knives out here because these are some of the most popular knives that exist. And that's why I use them as my size comparisons. And here we have, I believe the Rat 2 is the small one. My brain's kind of taking a fart there for a minute. But I believe that's the Rat 2. So Rat 1's the larger one. And then we have a Demco 80-20.5. And as you can see, the 80-20.5, these knives are pretty much all the same length, aren't they? Ain't that something? So it is kind of what I would consider an average EDC size knife, because pretty much all these knives that I bring out, they're all about the same size, all four of those, and that's kind of the general census for EDC is this size. So it is the right length. It is the heaviest one out of all four of those, except for maybe the 80-20.5 may be heavier. I need to get a scale eventually so I can start showing that on the channel. But yeah, if you guys like this video, you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. It really means everything to me. The more people I get on my channel, the more people that comment. I love hearing what people have to say about knives. Do you agree with me that this knife is overpriced at, you know, $82 to $90? Or do you think it's worth that price? Let me know. And enjoy your weekend, guys. And thanks for watching.